So this is a pretty fun one to end the candidate interview on. Do I identify as a socialist? Yes, I do. I've been a member of the Seattle chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America since January 2017. Um, you know, 10 years ago as a undergrad here at the university, I actually wrote my senior thesis for the history department on Marx. It was a biography of Marx, which is very, very unreadable. And the less said about it, the better, except to say that commitment to sort of these ideas that I think have found fruition in the recent rise of socialism for me goes back well before even the rise of DSA or deciding to run for office as somebody who's a socialist. I think, to answer the question, why am I a socialist? I think that for the very reasons of the premise of this question, I think that socialists in the last 100 years have been in a lot of ways, the most reliable source of sort of progressive ideals, one of the most reliable blocks of organizers for causes that are eventually sort of adopted by society and by liberalism at large. There are so many ideas currently that we're batting around as far as Medicare for All that you can trace back to socialist activity on the part of groups like the Black Panthers, who first called for that, or who were among the first to call for that in the late 1960s. And so I think that, especially in the context of seeing certain political fights where people that were nominally, progressive folks, people who were liberals, took a step back and caved to corporate power, especially when we're talking about the EHT and Seattle's recent history with that, you have to wonder why it is that somebody like Councilmember Sawant, as this question states, has been UAW 412's most consistent and dedicated ally in city politics. I think a lot of it doesn't necessarily have to do with any individual candidate, but candidates who do subscribe, I think, to some of the basic tenets of socialism as far as understanding society and politics as an arena for class conflict, as opposed to an avenue where everybody can just kind of get along with one another. We understand that that logic is kind of not really tenable anymore, and it never really was at any point. So, for me, socialism has to do with understanding politics as competitions fundamentally, and that the rich understand class solidarity very, very well, right? There's a reason why, somebody like Joe Crowley, who AOC defeated soundly in 2018, was able to immediately get a job in the private sector, working for some of the same big fossil fuel companies that he had on the campaign trail denounced as a so-called progressive who pretended to care about climate change. And a lot of that is because I think the rich generally understand what it is to take care of our own, take care of their own. Those of us who are on the left, those of us who might not even subscribe to the ideas or tenets of socialism, I think could learn a really, really good lesson about what it would mean to take care of our own and understand that we need to have candidates that are able to articulate, pronounced and, really, really pressing visions for what material change would look like for working people. So that's where I come down on it.